Good morning, all. Thank you so much for making time to join us this morning. I just want to know, can everybody hear me correctly, clearly?
Yes, I don't know how. Debbie's connecting to the audio now.
If you can just type a message in the chat.
Where's the chat here? That's fine, they've obviously stopped it. Okay, so chat.
Okay, all right. So all good, you can hear me. So I'm very excited to present this webinar with Andrews. Andrews is a social media strategist, and she's going to take us through LinkedIn for grads. I'm also quite excited to learn what exciting tips she has to offer us and how she's going to teach us to spruce up our LinkedIn profiles and yeah, basically get going. So if everybody can just keep your mics on mute until the very end. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to type them in the chat, and then Anne and I can answer them later, or Anne can answer them later, and then we'll keep a few minutes for a Q&A towards the end. And yeah, over to you, Anne.
Right, thanks, Desh. Thanks for having me here, and hello, everybody. I can't see, why don't you have your cameras on? Is it data, or it would be nice to see your faces, but it's not a problem at all. I do want to wait a few minutes because there were more people expected. So let's just have a little chat. Tell me a little bit about yourselves. There's only 4 of you at the moment, so let's go through one by one. Deborah, tell me, what degree are you doing and where are you? And are you finished last year already, or are you in final year, or are you just beginning? Tell me where you are. In fact, it's...
Hi, Anne. Yeah, no, I finished my degree 100 years ago, so I'm actually wanting to learn from you more how I can update my LinkedIn profile. It's got a little bit neglected, and I'm thinking that it is something I should pay some attention to. So any tips that I can get from you or learn from you will be very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I'm actually in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates.
Cool.
Near Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to learning stuff. I'm sure I'll learn lots of stuff, lots of tips and things. But yeah, no, I did my degree many years ago.
Cool.
So
Yeah, well, you know, the truth is that the principles hold true really no matter who you are or what you do. I think specifically though for students, there's a different target market that they're interested in, and they're selling something different. Sorry, I need to cough. Apologies. And Janine, tell us about you.
Hi, ladies. Yeah, I did let you know on my email that I'm also not a grad, but I'm just wanting to update or get more tips on my LinkedIn page. I've got a personal LinkedIn page, but I've recently started my own virtual office, and I'm just wanting to promote that more effectively.
Cool. Excellent. And Sarah? Where's Sarah gone? Sarah's vanished. Hope she comes back. Yolanda, how about you?
Hi, everyone. I finished my degree last year, 2020. I graduated with an honors in supply chain. So I'm basically a recent grad, and I'm looking for some tips on how I can basically start up a LinkedIn account.
Cool. And Yolanda, have you already found a position, or are you still looking?
I'm still currently looking for a position.
Yeah, it's not easy here.
It's not at all.
Are you in Durban or Johannesburg, Yolanda?
I'm in Durban.
Yep.
Cool. Deborah, Deborah, were you the first one I spoke to that you've changed places on the list just to confuse me? Natasha, how about you? Natasha, can you hear me? No. Okay, well, look, there's not so many of us here, and I think it's actually a really nice opportunity. We can really switch things out and change the way we go about this webinar to make it useful for you. And because there's so few of us, it'll actually be quite easy to answer questions as we go along. If we do start running into time issues, I'll probably chase you along. But yeah, why don't we get going? I'm going to share my screen.
Can you share, Anne, or must I make you host?
No, I can share there. That's
You can
fine.
share. Okay.
All right, let's just put it into full screen. Okay, so I mean, this is particularly for job search. So yes, that will be quite helpful for Yolanda, but for the others, we'll just stop and ask along the way. All right. I mean, basically what it boils down to is that you've all got LinkedIn, so I know that. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions as we go along the way. But really, I mean, the last 2 years haven't been easy at all, not just for graduates, but for people in business. And the one thing that we have shown is that we're adaptable. So looking for those, and I presume, Natasha, you're also looking for a job. For those of you who actually are looking for a job right now, you're adaptable. You've survived a very strange couple of years at university and out of university. And what we need to do now is to say, okay, what are we going to do to help you showcase yourself in the best possible way? I mean, we know it's really, it's never been easy to find a job, but now it's particularly difficult. And the situation is that it's very competitive. Your degree, Yolanda, as you see, your degree is wonderful and it does give you a certain advantage, but in itself, it's not enough. And it's very competitive. I've got contacted an IT company in Johannesburg. In January this year, they put up an ad. They were a bit late off the draw. They put up an ad for a graduate intern, a 6-month position, just a 6-month position, not a full-time job. And they had almost 6,000 applicants.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's a very scary stat as a graduate looking for a job, but it's also pretty scary for the employer, because if you're faced with 6,000, how do you actually sift through all of those numbers and find the right person for that position? So what you need to do is you need to be in a position where you can stand out from everybody else. You need to look different, be different, and give your potential employer a little bit of insight into who you are. And for those of you who actually have your own businesses, it's the same sort of thing. What makes you stand out from your competitors? I mean, really, it doesn't matter what you do professionally, there are always hundreds of other people offering the same service. And in a situation like that, we always talk in marketing about being unique and having a unique selling proposition. But a unique selling proposition, whether you're a student looking to find a job or whether you're marketing a product, doesn't have to be a unique factor, because pretty much everything is the same. I mean, if you want to buy a suitcase, a trolley suitcase with 4 wheels, you can say, what matters to me? For me, I want it to be light and I want the wheels to turn easily. And I can choose from 5 or 6 different brands. So why do I go after one brand? Why do I actually prefer one over the other? It's not actually because it's unique, it's because we say it in a unique way. And that, as a student, is what you've got to do as well. So can LinkedIn actually help you get a job? Well, I'm not going to tell you that LinkedIn's going to give you a job. But what it might do is it actually might tip the scale and get you that interview. And you're also in a position where if you take control of how you look on LinkedIn, you can create an impression in the mind of the interviewer even before you've walked through the door. And I think that's where it really stands up. So I'm going to show you why it matters, and I'm going to show you some stats about it, and then we're going to go into the specifics. And let's have a look at some of the stats. All right, this is just South Africa. In South Africa, there are 6 million people on LinkedIn. 1 million of them are managers, 200,000 of them are senior managers, 87,000 HR, and nearly 8,600 of them are recruiters. Now, if you're looking for a job, this is your target market. These are people who are making decisions in terms of staffing. And you can't ignore this target market. And, you know, from a business point of view as well, these are people who are making purchasing decisions. Obviously not the HR managers. They're not going to necessarily be buying your product if you're selling, I don't know, office equipment. Probably will go to the IT guys. But the decision makers in business are on LinkedIn. And it's really just that simple. Now, you know, LinkedIn, it's not as exciting as TikTok. I don't know about the rest of you, but I mean, I can really go down a rabbit hole on TikTok. I can spend hours gazing at all these stupid videos of, I don't know, the other day there was a guy who was a Chinese, well, Korean, I think, chap, making music with toilet plungers off his chest. I mean, it was the most bizarre thing in the world. Very strange. Like, you're not going to find that kind of stuff on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is all about business. So the tone is different, the conversation's different, the content's different. But what is good about it being different is that it's all about business. So if you want a job, this is actually the right place to be showcasing who you are. And yet, depending on what you do, you might want to be on other social media platforms as well. But you definitely need to be here. And I mean, Desh, you'll back me up on this. So many companies have their online, have their job application system online. And 100%. Often it's linked to LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you instantly at a disadvantage. Yolanda and Natasha, do you actually have LinkedIn profiles at present? Just put it in the chat. No, can't see. And I see we've got a new participant. Who's the new participant? Let's just put your name in the chat box because I can't see. Okay, and Natasha, you've got a LinkedIn profile. That's excellent. Yolanda, not yet. Well, that's fine too, because you're starting from a position of knowing, you know, what you want to do after today, hopefully. So yeah, okay. What was I saying? If you've got an online application system and also recruitment agencies, if you're using a recruitment agency, if companies are using a recruitment agency, they are often in a position where they still use LinkedIn. Now, I want you to imagine that you are looking for a job and you love Midmar. You've swum 9 and next year you're planning on swimming your 10th Midmar mile. Okay, so you've applied for a job, you're waiting to hear if you've got an interview. And what you didn't know is the HR manager also likes to swim the Midmar mile. Okay, you put it into your profile that one of your goals for next year is to swim your 10th Midmar. The HR manager looks at this and he goes, here's somebody who likes to set himself goals. He's prepared to do the hard work. And he knows how to make a commitment. Must be a good guy. Before you've even walked into the room,
first impression,
got a perception of you. Now, I want you to go back to my story I told you about the 6,000 job applicants for a 6-month internship. Picture the HR guy sitting in his office and he's whittled through the CVs. Some of them are just nonsense. He's whittled through them. He's now got 50 CVs. Every single person fulfills the job spec. Now, you can't give 50 CVs to your hiring manager to go and do interviews because nobody's got 50 hours to do the first round of interviews. So what do? How do you trim them back? Now, the research shows that 75% of recruiters will actually go onto LinkedIn and check out your LinkedIn profile before you get the interview. So one of the ways you can shorten your 50 down to a manageable number of CVs is to go and basically stalk the applicants online. So now, if you're shortening the list, how do you whittle out the people? Now imagine you've got a fabulous LinkedIn profile and it's got your ambitions, your goals, what makes you tick. And you're the mid-mile swimmer and you've talked about how you want to swim your 10th mid-mile mile. And then somebody else has got a very brief, clear, short LinkedIn profile. What they've done here is they've pretty much got everything on the LinkedIn profile that's on their CV and not much else. What has a recruiter learned? If they learned anything new? And if they've got to cut somebody, who are they going to cut? You? Or the guy who's proven that he can stick to a goal and make a commitment and likes to work hard to achieve his goals? Who gets cut? It's an obvious choice, isn't it? So if you don't have a good LinkedIn profile, somebody else will. And that could just be what tips the scales in the favor of them and gets them the job interview. So think of it this way. If you were the interviewer and you looked at your LinkedIn profile, would you interview you? Is there something there that's interesting that makes you stand out? And I have to tell you, looking at a whole lot of student LinkedIn profiles, the answer would be, no, not really. Nothing much stands out. I mean, yes, of course, there are some good ones, but there are some absolutely hopeless ones. I mean, when you're looking for a job, you've got to actually, oh, I've gone too far. How did I get there? Yeah, you've got to look at this from the perspective of the interviewer. Now, there are 3 pillars to LinkedIn. I seem to have lost a slide, but it's not a big deal. There are 3 pillars to LinkedIn: your profile, your content, and your connections. And this is not the same as it is for other social media factors, but you've got to have all 3. Think of it as a 3-legged stool. If you've got 1, your stool's not going to stand. If you've got 2, it's going to tip over. In an ideal world, you want all 3. And I'm going to take you through all of those kind of things. We're actually going to talk more about I'm really distressed because there's a couple of my slides. No, I haven't got there yet. Yeah. I got a bit sidetracked there. Apologies. There are 3 pillars to LinkedIn, and we're going to talk about all 3 of them. We're going to go through, spend a bit more time on your profile. And for the 2 of you who actually here for professional reasons, the same sort of thing will apply to you from a business point of view. Then we're going to talk a little bit about your content and a little bit about your connections, who you're connected to, and how does that help you. So you're in control of your brand. What do you want it to be? How do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as a student? Do you want to be seen as a potential employee? Do you want to be seen as somebody who's bright, ambitious, and full of opinions? If a recruiter looks at your profile, do they get to know you better? Do they know who you are? I'm going to show you a couple of not so good ones. What I'd like you to tell me is, what does this LinkedIn profile, this is all that was in the LinkedIn profile. What does this LinkedIn profile tell you? I've obviously covered her name because that's nobody's business. I don't know this person. I look at her profile and I haven't learned anything new. Does this look fairly familiar? All right, so it falls into the category of why bother. She has added no value to anybody who's recruiting, none at all. Here's another one, Yashil. I didn't bother to cover his name because who knows who he is? He hasn't told us. He does have 500 connections, and I find that quite interesting that somebody who is incognito and flying under the radar like this has a lot of connections. But if I'm looking to cut people from my list of 50 so I can get a manageable list of people to interview, Yashil's not looking particularly good. Here we've got somebody who does have a photograph of herself. She's also got quite a number of connections. I can't really see much about her. She didn't say anything about herself either. So I can't even see her face. If I walked down the street, I wouldn't recognize her. If she walked into the interview, I wouldn't know which person she was until she told me her name. When you're looking for a job or trying to sell a product or trying to sell your services, you need to grab people's attention. You know, the truth of the matter is your photo matters, and it matters a lot. LinkedIn will tell you that if you've got a photo, your profile's got 21 times more chance of getting a visit. Doesn't fade into obscurity. If you've got a photo, you are 9 times more likely to be invited to connect. Now, I mean, I've got a personal rule. I never connect with somebody who doesn't have a photo because clearly they don't know how to use the platform, so it's a waste of their time and mine for me to collect. They're not going to see what I post, and I'm not going to see what they post if they can't put a photo. So grab attention with your photo. The thing is, you know, you don't just want to be seen. You want to create an impression. So choose your photo to create the impression that you wanted to create. If you go back to that first woman that I showed you, sorry to say, she looks sullen. If I was hiring, do I want someone in my office with a grumpy face like that? Your photo should show you looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and show your personality. Once you've got their attention, well, then you need to focus their interest. What do you want to be known for? This is your headline. And what you want to be known for depends very much on you. It depends on the degree you've done, the job you're looking for, the work you're offering, the skills that you're offering. What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known as a student at University of KwaZulu-Natal? Or do you want to be known as a honors graduate with a special interest in coding who has a dream to be an IT manager in a multinational? So how do you want to express this? And you've got, if you're on the desktop version, you've got 120 characters for your headline. And your headline is not your job description. For those of you, it's not I'm managing director of Octarine Communications. Nobody cares about that. What they want to know is, what can I do for them? I'm a strategist. I can help them make their digital marketing work harder. That's what's in my headline. And if you're a student, you could use, I don't know, 30, 40 characters, telling them that you're a student at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. But if you filled out your profile right, your university logo should be showing in any case, so that's just a waste of time. So you could say a lot more. If you're working on the app, you can actually go to 240 characters, but I don't recommend that you do that. And the reason for that is that it gets too much. You don't want a paragraph as a headline. It's a headline. Keep it specific and focused. Okay, going back to profiles, here's one which is a little bit better. By calling herself a marketing graduate, she's added some value. She's told you she's open to work, and she's actually filled in the kind of roles she's looking for. Now, straight away, it's more interesting, but there's still a long way to go. Now I'm going to show you a completely different slide. I'm going to show you a photo where I've blocked out not just the name, but also the degree, the everything, okay? And what I'd like you all to do is I'd like you to go into the chat and tell me about this person. Can you go there? Can you say to me, what do you think this person is interested in? And what do you think this person might be studying? Generally, don't have to be exact, but just give me a clue. Okay, so he's interested in running. Yep. Anybody got any suggestions as to what degree he might be studying? Maybe fitness. He's interested in fitness, definitely. Definitely health related, maybe medical. Yeah. Do you think he's enjoying his degree? Phys ed, possibly? This is the guy who's taken the trouble to go and find a picture that represents what he does. He's studying honors in physiology. Okay, you didn't even have to see that to know that he's actually quite excited about what he does. He's found a magnificent musculoskeletal image. He's shown what he's doing when he's relaxing. Now I want to show you this. This woman here is also doing an honors degree in physiology. She's got 7 connections. We do see her face and she looks pretty and interested, but we don't know much more about her. And if you could only interview one of these two, which one do you think looks the more interesting? Desh, you're a recruiter. What's your impression when you look at these two?
Definitely the BSc Honors Physiology student, the one with the
runner.
Yes, the white male.
Yeah. It just looks more interesting. And yes, we know that for a lot of companies, equity is a big issue. But, you know, this could have been a white woman here, or this could have been a black man there. You know, there's some things that we work with in terms of what we've got, and you've got to take advantage of every single opportunity you have. Well, that's, I don't know why I've got him again. Went backwards. All right. You also, you know, keep on talking about making yourself stand out really for the right reasons. And your personality is a huge part of that. And I don't want you to get all sort of anxious about, you know, I'm not Mr. Personality. I'm not out there and outgoing. Your personality is important. It doesn't mean you have to be Mr. Party Animal, okay? Your personality, whether you're retiring, whether you're quiet, whether you're serious, whether you've got a sense of humor, is who you are. And you need to show that and embrace it. Because if you've chosen your career path well, your personality probably suits what you want to achieve. So don't think you've got to be somebody that you're not. And the best place to show this, other than in the photos, is in the About section. Now, most people don't bother with the About section. And I believe it's because they're not really sure what they should say there. From an interviewing point of view, you often get asked a question like, so tell me about yourself, or so tell me who you are in one sentence. So think of that question when you're filling in your About section and start there. Not starting at the beginning of your life. I was born in 1999 and I went to junior school here and high school there, and I played soccer when I was in junior school and hockey when I was in high school. No. What matters in terms of the job that you're looking for? Or if you've got a business, what matters in terms of the service that you offer or the products that you sell? In an employment situation, show your hopes, show your values, show your dreams, show your goals. Because, you know, often it's those things that actually align with what the company is looking for and what the recruiter is looking for. Because they want you to fit in. Corporate fit is a huge issue in a job. You can't just put a person who's got the right qualifications but who's really wrong for the company into the job, because it won't be good for anybody. I mean, I actually once worked for a company that had a very strong work hard, play hard ethos. And we were recruiting at the universities, and we met this guy, just chatting, waiting for a session to start. And we met this wonderful fellow. He was really charming and serious and thoughtful. And we were looking for marketing people, and He had done an engineering degree, but we just thought he was fabulous. And we offered him a job and he took it. And it was such a misfit. We were completely enchanted by him and his intellect. And we didn't stop to ask if he liked to party hard. He had, one of his quotes was, "My body is a temple." You can imagine how unhappy he was when on a Friday night, all the juniors went for drinks. And that was a mistake we never made again. That was some time ago. People don't really make those mistakes anymore. You actually check for corporate fit. So show your personality, be proud of it, share your goals, and something there might actually align with what the company's trying to achieve and make you stand out as being the best candidate. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of an about section. Look at this. I'm currently studying a mechanical engineer's master's in renewable energy at Stellenbosch. My main focus and interests lie in green hydrogen production and data science and coding. Planning to complete my master at the end of 2021. I'm then open to work and looking for a position where I can make a difference in the renewable energy, data science, or a field which my skills and expertise can be of use to your company. Now, if I read this, I can tell straight away, here's a guy who's very goal-oriented, who knows what he wants. He's to the point. He's thought quite long and hard. I mean, he's doing a master's. He's had some time to focus on what he wants to achieve. He wants hydrogen production, data science. He's interested in renewable energy. He doesn't say, I'm a team player. He shows it. He says, or a field where my skills and expertise can be of use to you. So although he's not saying, I'm serious, I'm ambitious, you're seeing it anyway. So even though his grammar is not so good and there's a space before the comma, which I'm a bit of a grammar Nazi, I still think this is a guy worth talking to. Okay, let's talk about content. You know, if you've got a profile and it's fabulous and you stop there, it's kind of like getting a CV and putting it in a drawer. People won't see it that often. You've got to get it out there. And one of the ways to get your profile out there is to get people to be interested in you. So you create content and engage in conversations. You need content because it's one way that people can get to know you better. They can see what your values are, what matters to you. And it helps build relationships. It's one of those things where if employers come to check you out, the more they see about who you are, the better. So get out there. And we know, again, research has shown people don't put up content mainly because they're scared of looking foolish. What if I say something? What will people think? Well, stop worrying about what other people might think. People don't care. They're more worried about what they're up to. And the reality is that what you post might actually add value to employers. And even if it doesn't add value directly to the employers, it has the other advantage. It could actually help you build relationships with other people who are useful to you. And talking of other people, we first go to the types of content. Yes, we don't always have to post what I call meaty content, stuff that you've really thought long and hard about. A comment can be a vital piece of content. If you're following somebody who's interesting, who has an opinion, even if you differ with their opinion, that can add value. One of the things that really works well on LinkedIn, if somebody says something like, for example, somebody put up something the other day about communication in the time of COVID and how nonverbal is important because of masks. And I said, yes, and we need to speak louder because people battle to hear without any kind of lip reading, and because they mask, the sound is muted by the mask. And the person who I commented on immediately came back and said, oh, yes, good point. Thank you. That's true, too. So instantly she's gone, oh, I know who Anne is now. And it's somebody that she's a first contact, but we don't talk often. And in that way, you create a relationship. You could also share other people's content. It could be something that you saw on LinkedIn, or it could be something about your field that you read in, I don't know, a professional journal, somebody's blog, something that you found interesting and you thought that other people might find interesting too. And the meaty content, well, that's great, but you know, this is not a full-time job. You don't want to be writing a blog every day. So your connections. Okay, all of you, do me a favor, put it in your chat, you students. How many connections do you have on LinkedIn? Those of you who've got a profile, how many connections do you have? Give or take, you don't have to check it out. I mean, is it 200? Is it 127? Is it 2,000? Is it 3? Give me an idea. Yeah. Okay. Now you're putting everyone to shame there, Desh. I can tell you from some of these students that I've worked with on my course that it's normally around 50. Does that sound right?
Mm-mm.
Natasha, you're doing quite well there. Natandu, doing very nicely. Okay, my next question is, when did you last post content? When did you last post anything on LinkedIn? Never posted. Desh on Monday, okay. So Natandu, Natasha, you've got between you more than 500 people who might be interested in what you have to say. I'm going to ask you another question, everybody. How many contacts do you have on your cell phone? A whole lot more than 270 or 350. And for those who've only got the average of around 50, I know you got more contacts than those. You need quantity and quality. If you see somebody who's got 7 contacts on LinkedIn, you kind of think, Norman, no friends. They can't be very interesting. They probably don't have too much in the way. Yeah. Well, yeah, the truth is people do neglect their LinkedIn, Debbie. It's Deborah, it's actually quite normal. Not more than 120. Okay, Nandi, I'm very impressed with you. So you've basically got everybody on your phone, you're the equivalent on LinkedIn. So that's actually fantastic. So good for you. I'm impressed by that. But you want quality as well. You can't just be linking to people who have no purpose. I mean, I went through a phase where I was getting a lot of connections from people who I never heard from again. I went through a phase of saying, why do you want to connect with me? Give me a reason. I'm interested to know. Maybe I can help.
How many connections do you have, Anne?
Oh, I've got, I know I've got more than 500. But yeah, that's it. And it's not because I don't want to connect, but I see no point in connecting with someone. My strategy is, do they share interesting information? Can I learn from them? Can I help them? Can they help me? And I'm very happy to connect with people who can't help me at all if I can help them, because then that's a real reason. But if I say to somebody, I'm interested to know, how can I help you? What do you want to know from me? And they don't reply, why did they bother to try and connect with me? I'm not going to connect with them. It's just a waste of their time. You look at the chats there. Okay, 30, but not very active on LinkedIn at the moment. Yeah, well, you see, as I say, Janine, it's one of those things. It's as I say, joining LinkedIn is like joining a club. If I join, for example, the Durban Country Club, and I pay my subscriptions and I never go, I won't know anyone. And on the rare occasion where I pitch up and make a comment, people will look at me and go, don't know you, carry on with your conversation. You actually have to participate to be there. So having an account in itself, it's not going to achieve anything for you, whether it's for finding a job or getting business. So when you want to make connections, don't discount the value of your existing network, your friends, your family. And for students, that might mean your friends' parents and your parents' friends. It could be you had a part-time job, an internship. Who was your supervisor, your manager? It could be people at companies that you'd like to work for that have the same kind of job that you aspire to. It could be alumni, whether it's the guy who did honors when you were in first year, or maybe gave you, a guy who ran the tutorials. Connect with them. When you connect with people, you've got to do it the right way, though. I mean, for example, if you want to connect with, say, for example, the engineering manager at Afrox, when you ask him to connect, you better give him a reason why you want to connect with him. One that'll make him say, yeah, sure, I'll connect with you. Don't just send him empty, please connect post, because why should he accept your invitation? It's kind of like polite, you know? These are just not numbers, these are actual real people. Right, so the stats are, so 70% of people will check you out online. So if you're hiring, 70% of hiring managers will check you out online. And just like a dating app, they better like what they see. Okay, I was going to have some questions, but you've all been relatively quiet. So maybe, does anybody have any questions they would like to ask now? If you change your mind, by all means, my website is andrews.com. My email is ann@andrews.com. By all means, send me some questions there. Okay. Oh, I've gone forward. That wasn't my intention. My tips there. Okay, so the thing that you need to really take seriously is that you can control how people see you on LinkedIn by the way you present yourself. So, for example, it's the smile on your face. Do you look open? Do you look friendly? It's the language that you use. It's the fact, I mean, I see so many people who have their name without capital letters. If you can't be bothered to capitalize your own name, really, are you going to be interested in being accurate when it comes to work? Or are you just sloppy? So control how people see you, and remember that first impressions last, so make a good first impression. Get stuck in sooner rather than later, because relationship building takes time. Remember that there are 3 pillars and you need all 3 of them. Be accurate and pay attention to detail. You often see people who have, in their experience or their education section, overlapping dates, incorrect dates, huge gaps. And there's an etiquette on LinkedIn. You know, you don't walk up to a group of people chatting at a party and thrust your business card into their hand and walk away. So why would you do that on LinkedIn? I actually, for you students, if you're interested, I do a workshop that goes into much more detail. I talk about the LinkedIn, the admins and the settings, and basically best practice. I help you craft your headline so that it's meaningful. I'll help you develop a content strategy and a connection strategy. Look at doing a custom URL. I'll show you how to use search, how to use LinkedIn to research companies and people. LinkedIn also has a job search facility, but you can't get too excited about that because a lot of people put jobs up just to test the water, and I'll give you a profile guide. So if you are interested in that, the dates of my course I'll put, I've gone the wrong way, Thursday the 22nd and Thursday the 29th in the middle of the holiday, so everyone should have time. There is a cost attached to that workshop. And if you want to connect with me, please do. There's my LinkedIn. That's what I mean by the custom URL. Makes it much simpler. And anybody who's got a custom URL is www.linkedin.com/in/ whatever name they choose. Right. That's 1 hour and 2 minutes. That's pretty accurate timing. Okay, should I convert my existing personal profile to a business page or create a new one? That's a very interesting question, Janine. Personal profiles and business profiles, business pages are a source of much contention. There are a lot of people, and particularly previously, there were a lot of restrictions to the company pages where, for example, you couldn't invite people to connect. You had to wait for them to connect or invite them to a different platform. But Janine, what do you do? What's your service? VA admin. No, you should definitely keep it on your personal profile. People connect with people, not with brands. And in fact, you can have a look at some of the major companies and major brands, and you'll see the engagement on their business pages is very low. The reason for having a business page is it allows you to promote your posts. So in other words, you can pay them money to get your posts seen by more people. There's a couple of more reasons, but that's the main reason. If you're in a situation, for example, if you're a company who wants to recruit, it's a great place to actually start talking about your values, what the company stands for, and you can add content there that would help with presenting the company the right light to people who are looking for jobs. I mean, if, for example, you're a company that makes consumer products, say, for example, you make nappies, okay? You are going to have all your TV ads talking to consumers about babies and dry bottoms and a nappy rash. You're not going to talk about it's a great place to work for. So that you would do on your company page. But as a VA, definitely keep in your personal profile. You could have a business page by all means as a backup. But it's that simple case of feeding the monster. If you have a business page without much activity and somebody goes to it, what do you want them to see there? What I want them to see there is just the basics, some content. I have it there and I use it for if I want to boost some posts. You can't do that on a personal account. Any other questions?
So I have one, Anne. On your contact info,
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, and this is just for my personal, because I'm learning a lot from you as well.
Good, thank you.
Where it gives you your contact info, it only allows you to put one contact number. So like my office number. How come it doesn't allow me to add like my mobile number or something like that to my LinkedIn profile?
Okay, well, you actually can do it in your settings for your contact settings in your account.
Oh, but, okay.
Yeah, so and that's quite useful if people can't see that, okay? But you can. Why do you want to have a contact number so people can contact you? When do you want them to contact you? Probably at work.
Yeah, but we are moving toward the stage where we want to be more accessible to our clients as well. So a lot of the time,
I was happy to hear that.
We want to be more accessible to our clients, and we've noticed that, especially with the pandemic, because a lot of people are working from home. A lot of our clients are working from home.
Yeah.
WhatsApp is a much easier means of communication.
Absolutely.
Where in the last year, I would say I've had so many clients WhatsApp me versus my 15 years as a recruiter. I've never had WhatsApp communication like I have it now with clients. And just adding, just wanting to know, adding your mobile number as an option there as well. And also for some students, that want to add their mobile number as well.
I need to double check that, because if you go into your account settings, you can definitely put in more than one number and more than one email address. I'm not sure why it's not showing on. I've never actually looked at that or been asked that, but I'll double check that for you. But I agree with you. Definitely WhatsApp is becoming more and more of a business tool. And we know we're all the same. You can have 34 unread emails in your inbox, but you open your WhatsApps.
Well,
if you want to get on somebody, WhatsApp them, they're more likely to respond more rapidly.
The good thing that and why I want to say thank you so much for doing this is because, I've been a recruiter for 15 years now, and I go to LinkedIn when I'm recruiting for high level roles. So my very senior roles are always going to LinkedIn. But it's nice for us to start using LinkedIn for our junior roles, because there's often the perception that, oh, you know what, the junior candidates are not on LinkedIn. And it would be really nice to start seeing the graduates and the candidates that have been employed for a year or 2 years on LinkedIn, because it just makes searching a whole lot easier from a recruiter. I search extensively on LinkedIn, as I do other social media portals, and I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of my favorite places to look for people. So it's really nice. And you know what, I must say, it's really nice that you're doing this for grads. And, for anybody that's missed this recording, we're going to publish the link so you can always watch it at a later stage. I'll put it up on my LinkedIn post as well, on my newsfeed, so anybody can watch it. But it would be really nice to start seeing an increased presence of graduates on LinkedIn now.
No, I agree with you. And in fact, internationally, it's becoming much more powerful. LinkedIn, a couple of years ago, they actually had a special graduate platform to try and assist people. But they put quite a lot up there, and they publish some documentation, that kind of thing. And a lot of the universities, if you link to your own university, you can actually, there's all sorts of things on search. So, for example, and I'll give you a real life example. I had a guy who did my course who was desperate to get a job quickly and very anxious about COVID. He went to Michael House.
Okay.
And I said to him, use your old school tie. It's one of the reasons your parents sent you to a school like that. So what he did, he actually went and he linked up with Michael House people who did what he wanted, the job he wanted to get. He got an interview within a week and he got the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because if you're a Michael House boy, those kind of things actually matter.
Doors open.
Yeah. And it might be unfair, but as I said earlier, use whatever advantage you've got.
Exactly.
And that advantage is that you've got a great profile. I also want to go back to what you said about looking at people for senior positions. I think that's also where the headline becomes so important. And again, for the people who've got businesses, LinkedIn is actually a search engine.
It is.
And what you need to do is you need to have your keywords. So, for example, the about section I told you, where it was mechanical engineer, master's degree, renewable energy.
And it's little things that you can also add to your profile as a graduate. So like if you graduated cum laude, or if you were a part of honor society, or you added some sort of value, or you were a tutor at university.
Exactly.
All those little things that you think might not mean something actually do stand out, and what sets you apart from the next candidate as well. Because at the end of the day, you know what, right now I can say it's a buyer's market with regards to candidates, and employers know that, and they take full advantage of that, and they expect us as recruiters to give them the best candidates for the jobs.
Exactly. And I think also what I didn't mention was all I did was focus on the top 3 sections of the profile. There are many more sections. There's a section for accomplishments, for education, for special projects you've worked on. I mean, as a graduate, you could actually put up your thesis as a special project. Just as an example. So, yes, there's things like, have you had any awards? Have you done any charitable work? There's all sorts of places that you can use. The top 3 ones, though, your headline, because it's searchable. And if you're in business, don't say that you're the owner. Nobody goes onto LinkedIn and searches for owner. They actually go onto LinkedIn and say, conference corporate gifts. And if your profile says, I'm the MD of Crystal Impressions, they won't find you. But if you say, I sell high quality corporate gifts, they will find you.
Okay.
So, if you think of it from a candidate point of view, if your title is engineering manager, that's your job title. LinkedIn don't call it a job title, they call it a professional headline. So engineering manager doesn't tell much. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to say civil engineer in the water sector. Because you might be a civil engineer who does structures or roads or whatever else. So you've got to be very specific if you want to be found. As a business owner who's looking for clients, you've got to be clear about the service offering that you have. Because nobody cares that you're a partner in a business. And when it comes to skills, we'll go to that too. When it comes to skills, be careful of the skills that you show, because if you, and loads of people do it. I've seen managing directors. I've worked with a guy who'd been working in a senior position for 30 odd years, and he had Microsoft as one of his skills. He was actually in the engineering sector. An engineer with Microsoft, nobody cares. It's the basics. And it's the same with graduates as well. We expect that you've got decent IT skills. It doesn't even bear mentioning. So save your skills section for the things that really matter. Right, any other questions before we finish? No. Okay, well, everybody, thank you very much. As I say, feel free to connect with me. Remember, send a personal little line so I know who you are. It could be, thanks, Anne, saw you this morning. Love to connect. Whatever it is, just let me know. And if you do that, even if you don't have a photo, I will accept you.
And thank you so much, Anne, for making time to do this. You know what, we really, really do appreciate it. And you know what, like Cindy always tells us, our director, if we made a difference in one person's life today, our job's done.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. That is really a lovely way to go on with the rest of my day. Thank you so much, Desh.
No problem.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, then. Take
Oh,
care.
there's 2 more messages before we go. Thanks. Absolute pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I love you to hear that I've inspired you. And if you have any questions, get hold of me. I'll happily answer them.
Wonderful. Thanks, Anne.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.